according to some sources inside of the Senate, Dianne Feinstein's cognitive decline has been evident for years, according to her colleagues and even members of her staff.
So new reports allege that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has asked Feinstein to step down from the Senate Judiciary Committee twice now, since she forgets conversations that they have. Democratic strategist Andrew Feldman and culture editor at The Federalist Emily Jashinsky join us now to weigh in on this. Great to see both of you guys.
Good to see you guys.
Andrew, this was a very painful article to read. What did you make of it, in particular this detail about Schumer's had to have these incredibly painful personal conversations with Feinstein repeatedly because she doesn't remember the content of the conversation?
Crystal, I think painful is a good way to describe it. I mean, the bottom line is I don't know Senator Feinstein. I don't know people on her staff, but what I do know is that I don't think people should be in the Senate forever, and that doesn't matter what the party is. Chuck Grassley's 87. Feinstein's 87. I just think back. I don't know anyone, in my personal life that is working full time at 87 years old, and I didn't think that Feinstein should have ran for re-election the last time, and I think she needs to, or people close to her that she trusts have to have a real conversation with her, a hard talk about is this how she wants to go out? I mean, she has a real ceiling breaking legacy here that I think she should want to keep intact, and I don't think she wants to go out like this.
Yeah, I mean, Emily, this is an interesting one, right? Which is that there was two critiques of Feinstein. One, I think, was the dumb one, which is that she gave Lindsey Graham a hug, and apparently that's why she needs to go. The second one seems more substantive, is that she doesn't remember some conversations. And look, this is a hard question, but actually one that Washington reporters have known for years. There are several members of the Senate who have been exhibiting cognitive decline. There was that pharmacist anonymously who came out and told a reporter, he's like, yeah, I filled Alzheimer's prescriptions for people who are active members of Congress. And it's like Andrew said, I mean, sorry, like 87 years old, there's not a lot of people who are still working at the highest level of their careers at that age.
Yeah, I don't think this is a hard question at all. I think it's sad that it has to play out publicly, and I think it's obvious that this is a painful. The story is painful. The situation is painful. It's sad that it has to play out publicly, but it's not the fault of the media, and it's certainly not the fault of her constituents for raising the issue at all, because they need a senator. There's a reason that we have senators, and so it's obviously a situation where she's no longer, in a position where she can do the best job possible for Californians. Californians deserve a senator who can. And I think it's important to mention that some of this certainly is coming from leaks. Over the course of the Amy Coney Barrett hearing, people were super dissatisfied on that committee with how things went. And so I think some of this is definitely stemming from that. But at the end of the day, there's a reason it's playing out publicly, and it's really her fault because she decided to run again. And so I hope Californians can have a senator who represents them to the best of their ability.
By the way, worth mentioning that progressives tried to primary her back in 2018 and were treated like they were horrible misogynists for daring to challenge her. And so I think, and were crushed by all of the powers that be, and again, derided as like horrible people for even suggesting the possibility that maybe it was time for fresh blood there. I mean, Andrew, this isn't a problem just with Senator Feinstein on the Democratic side. I was just looking at the numbers. In the House, the average age of House Democratic leadership is 71. The average age of GOP House leadership is 53. So there's a lot of problem with people who stay past their prime in the House and the Senate on both sides of the aisle. But Democrats in particular have an issue where, the top echelons of leadership hang on forever and really sort of squeeze out young new voices coming up.
Look, I would agree with that. I think we need to figure out a way to get new voices, the next generation of leaders into the conversation here and into the leadership mix. I mean, the reality is, and the reason I was so upset by, the way Senator Feinstein dealt with Senator Lindsey Graham in that hearing is because we are not dealing with the same type of Senate. We're not dealing with the Senate that lives by the norms that it once did. And the reality is to think that we do. For Senator Feinstein to think that, this is the same institution that it was when she got there. For any members of the House or Senate to view it like that, I just think is wrong. And we need people that understand that. I do think we need new generation of leadership in leadership positions across the board. And for the betterment of the party, for the future of the party, we need to think, who are the best people in those positions moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, what do you make of that, Emily? Just how what Crystal was talking about, just how hard they fought against this. Because I even saw this. It's not just progressives who were talking about this. Others were like, hey, look, there was this whole primary process that could have played out. 2 years ago, everybody knew all of this. And yet they were completely quashed by the California Democratic machine in order to make sure nobody ran against her.
Yeah, that's absolutely what happened. And we've seen that happen time and again with Democrats, particularly. As Crystal was mentioning, this is a trend over the last half decade, a little bit longer than that, with Democrats who protect these legacy establishment voices. I mean, look at who the president-elect of the United States is in this really young, vibrant field. And it's kind of amazing because I think part of the problem is a lot of young, talented Democrats are, I hate using this word, but they're woke. And that creates a lot of problems for the party. So while they may be progressive on economic issues, they're woke on these cultural issues. And so Democrats are establishment Democrats realize that that's an issue. And so it creates this problem where you want to bring the young talent in, but the young talent is also out of step with the base of the party, which is still not is still not that far left. So it's a serious dilemma for Democrats.
I think that's giving them too much credit here. I think they just want to hold on to their own power. I mean, I really think it's that simple. It's like a professional association. This is Acita Nuevo said this, to maintain their own power and elevate certain selected. It's a jobs program for the people who are already in power. So that's what's really going on here. And I mean, Andrew, last question to you on this, you actually see this in the Biden administration picks. I was reading some analysis yesterday. Biden had said this thing about, he wants to be a bridge to the next generation. But so far, most of his picks are, first of all, they're Obama-era throwbacks, but a lot of them are in their 60s and 70s. I think part of that is his own preference. Those are his buddies. But I also think part of it is Kamala protecting her own political ambition so that anyone that is new and young and up and coming couldn't be in a position to challenge her, say, in 2024 for the future leader of the party. What do you make of that dynamic?
Look, I think that Joe Biden is putting together a cabinet, a leadership team in the most unprecedented time in the history of this country, at a time when we are dealing with crisis after crisis, and he's looking to put forth the people that he trusts, that he believes can get us moving as quickly as possible here in fixing the damage that has been done. And I think that's what we have to focus about when it comes to Biden. I don't think we should scrutinize right now in the first days of this presidency, these picks like this, because I do think we have to understand how unprecedented of time this is for putting together a cabinet and trying to build back the government that has been teared down day after day by this presidency.
Well, I think the fact that it is an unprecedented time is exactly why the cabinet picks should face even more scrutiny, that they are the right picks for the job. And you know what, guys? We're going to do exactly that
Save it.
in the next conversation. Stick with us. We'll be back right after this.